Why don't humans go to the moon anymore? One of humanity's greatest scientific achievements was the Apollo program, the event when humans first set foot on the moon. But for some reason, right after the mission's success, people noticed that the astronauts' expressions didn't look particularly good during the interview. Even now, as you're lying down watching YouTube, there are still people saying they're more surprised the astronauts made it back safely than that they went in the first place. This is actual footage from Apollo. Two astronauts in spacesuits are planting a flag on the moon. There are quite a few traces left from the moon landing. In 2011, NASA sent a lunar reconnaissance orbiter to the moon, which captured clear photos of tracks from Apollo 16 and 17's rover wheels, and even of the landing module left behind. But here's the question. Why don't we go to the moon today, even with more advanced technology than we had back then? And why did the Apollo program end in 1973? Some scientists say we don't go because we've already gathered enough data. But in the midst of all this, countless conspiracy theories have emerged. In 2012, NASA released a video it had kept secret for 43 years. But when people saw this video, everyone was completely shocked. The reason? There was an unidentified sound recorded in the video. 2 months before Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, Apollo 10 was launched for final checks and a rehearsal. A total of 3 astronauts, including Commander Stafford, were on board. Apollo 10 achieved great things, coming very close to the moon's surface. But 5 days after launch, when the lunar module approached the far side of the moon, something strange happened. All 3 astronauts heard a strange sound at the same time. Surprisingly, it wasn't something they heard through their headsets or coming from inside the spacecraft. It was a sound coming from outside. The 3 astronauts talked about it, saying things like, "Doesn't that sound like music from outer space?" and "Did you hear it too?" Their conversations and the mysterious sound were recorded on the video. At this time, Apollo 10 was on the far side of the moon, so they had lost communication with Earth. This unknown sound continued for more than an hour, and the astronauts debated whether or not to report it to NASA. They worried people might think they were crazy, which could get them excluded from future missions on grounds of mental instability. In the end, they decided to report it to NASA, but NASA told them, "Don't speak of this incident anywhere," and classified the strange sound as confidential. It was only after 40 years that the video was finally made public. Surprisingly, these 3 weren't the only ones who heard the sound. Michael Collins, who orbited the moon alone on Apollo 11 with Neil Armstrong, claimed in his book Carrying the Fire that he also heard a strange sound from the lunar orbit.
What on earth is that sound? Like a spaceship approaching the moon with warning, right?
Many people, like you, had the same question. And more theories about the sound started to pop up. One NASA researcher went on TV saying it was just interference between the frequencies of Apollo 10's command module and lunar module. But Apollo 15 astronaut Al Worden refuted that claim, saying that if it had been a technical issue, there should have been some sort of explanation. Yet neither he nor any of the astronauts had ever received one from NASA. He even suggested that there could be something on the moon. Actually, there had been claims about UFOs and extraterrestrial life on the moon for a while. British UFO expert Timothy Good claimed in his 1987 book Above Top Secret that Apollo 11 astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, saw a UFO right after landing on the moon. It didn't stop there. An anonymous person who claimed to be the commander of Apollo 19 and another person claiming to be Apollo 20 commander William Rutledge both emerged. But officially, the last known lunar mission was Apollo 17. They claimed that secret lunar missions continued after that and that they all saw UFOs there. One of them even released a video, claiming it showed an alien on the moon. They went on to say that NASA's moon missions were halted because of aliens who continued to threaten the lunar landers for a long time. They also claimed that NASA lost several important records and messages related to the moon, saying that NASA's efforts to cover up the existence of extraterrestrials led to these missing records. These stories have been around for a long time, but with the mysterious sound finally revealed after 40 years, the controversy still lingers. What could that strange sound really be? Did you know that one of the strangest, most mysterious satellites in our solar system, the moon, is rumored to have artificial structures built by a civilization? In November 2020, Scott Waring, a researcher of extraterrestrial life and famous conspiracy theorist, claimed he discovered a structure similar to a pyramid on the moon's surface. he released some images on his website, which were taken by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. This structure was shaped like a triangular pyramid with a diameter of about a kilometer, very similar in structure to Egypt's pyramids. NASA admitted that an object resembling a pyramid does exist on the moon's surface, but they claimed it's a natural deposit, not an artificial structure.
Can this really pile up so precisely on its own? Seems fishy.
Then, something else astonishing was recently revealed. While observing the lunar surface, a mysterious structure was discovered at a specific location. Standing about 200 meters tall, the structure resembles a pyramid. Marcelo, who discovered the lunar pyramid on Google Moon, proposed the hypothesis that it could be an artificially constructed structure, given that the surrounding terrain is flat with no mountains. Some who saw this speculated it could be a rendering error in Google Moon's program. NASA and Google have yet to comment on this, only deepening the mystery. Could there really be a pyramid on the moon? If it really exists, what kind of connection does it have with the pyramids on Earth? Apparently, this lunar pyramid can still be seen at the marked coordinates, so any curious piglets might enjoy checking it out for themselves. This strange artifact on the lunar surface isn't the only one. On March 21st, 1996, Hoagland made a shocking claim that there were ancient artificial structures on the moon. He said that the entire purpose of the US government's Apollo program was to analyze these structures and that the truth was being hidden to avoid shocking the public. The photo that was revealed was of this so-called castle. It's a structure standing 16 kilometers tall, made of glass-like material and photographed from a satellite over the lunar surface. From its supports to various pillars and tall spires, doesn't it look a bit like the castle at Disney? It's said to have a highly regular and geometric structure and is likely very heavily damaged overall. In 1992, the American Astronomical Society requested all available photographs of the moon's surface from NASA. While examining these photos, Dr. Richard Hoagland discovered numerous peculiar structures within them. After that, he released the photos on the internet, which included the shard. The shard is a structure resembling a bowling pin, about 2.4 kilometers tall, with a narrow bottom and a thicker middle, a unique shape. Scholars refuted this, claiming the photo simply captured a gas discharge or a pillar of smoke by coincidence. However, after further investigation, it was found that the shard is a solid structure, not gas. The shard has a very high reflectivity, suggesting it could be made of materials like glass, crystal, or metal. Though the top appears uneven due to damage and erosion, its overly artificial appearance compared to the surrounding terrain makes you wonder, could it really have been built by an alien civilization? Not only that, but there are also reports of hundreds of dome-shaped buildings, tunnels running through craters, bridges, and even a massive object that appears to have rolled across the ground, leaving tracks before stopping. What exactly are these things? If you're curious about the identity of these lunar structures, hit the subscribe button. Have you ever heard of the conspiracy theory that the moon could be an artificial satellite created by aliens? Despite being the closest celestial body to Earth, the moon is still full of scientific mysteries we haven't solved. That's why this theory has some appeal. Let me tell you the reasons behind it. The sun and moon are vastly different in actual size, but oddly enough, they look the same size from Earth. So people have long thought of the sun and moon as equal, representing yin and yang. The sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, and interestingly, the distance between them and Earth is also 400 times different. That's why Earth is the only place in the entire universe where we can see a total solar eclipse.
But seriously, how could it be both just coincidentally have a 400 times difference?
But, as you said, is this really just a coincidence? All planets in the solar system have their own moons, but Earth's moon is different from the others. If you look at the moons of Mars, which is considered the planet most similar to Earth, you'll see a huge difference in appearance. That's not all. The moon is unusually large as well. With a diameter of 3,474 kilometers, the moon is about 1/4 the size of Earth. Mars's moons, however, are only about 1/312 the size of Mars. Very small. So what about Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system? Jupiter is known to have 67 moons, but only 3 of them are larger than the moon. Even then, these 3 moons aren't vastly larger than the moon. The largest, Ganymede, has a diameter of 5,262 kilometers, not even twice the size of the moon. Compared to other moons, the moon really stands out in terms of size. For Earth, which isn't even among the larger planets in the solar system, holding on to something this big by gravity is extraordinary. And that's not the only strange thing. The moon has countless impact craters, but they're oddly shallow for their diameter. The largest impact crater on Earth is the Barringer crater in the US. It's 1.2 kilometers wide and 176 meters deep. On the moon, however, there is a massive impact crater called the Gagarin crater, with a diameter of 300 kilometers, yet it's only 6.4 kilometers deep. To investigate this, Apollo 12 set up a seismometer on the moon to conduct seismic wave experiments. What they found was surprising. The vibrations only spread across the moon's surface, not its interior, and the speed of these vibrations was very high, leading to the conclusion that the moon's surface is made of a metal denser than rock. Additionally, the moon has zones where gravity is unusually strong. These mysterious areas are called mascons, suggesting the presence of some very dense material. Moreover, Earth can never see the far side of the moon. Most of you piglets watching this video probably haven't seen the far side of the moon either. Is there a reason we're not able to see it? If you think the moon is hiding a lot of secrets, smash that like button. In ancient times, humanity found sanctuary in nature, and the ultimate shelter was caves. Did you know that on the moon, where we can't take Earth's construction tools and materials, caves are also the top candidate for future astronauts' base? Caves have a lot of advantages. Above all, an underground cave could help alleviate the moon's extreme temperature differences between day and night. The lunar surface reaches up to 248 Fahrenheit during the day and drops to minus 274 Fahrenheit at night, a massive temperature swing. Moreover, caves tens of meters underground provide protection from cosmic radiation, which hits the moon's surface directly without an atmospheric barrier. The lunar surface's radiation is up to 150 times stronger than Earth's, and caves can also protect against meteors, which could strike at any time. Then, in July 2024, they discovered a very suitable lava tube entrance for a lunar base, measuring 130 meters deep and 45 meters wide. After analyzing data from NASA's lunar surface observations, researchers confirmed that a 100-meter wide crater on the near side of the moon in the Sea of Tranquility area connects to an underground cave. They suggested that this cave was formed by lava flowing underground after a volcanic eruption. The cave's location isn't far from where Apollo 11, humanity's first lunar mission, landed in 1969. This is an incredible discovery. For 50 years, lunar underground caves were only considered a theoretical possibility, but now they've actually found one. The cave's size is equivalent to about 14 tennis courts, which makes it more than sufficient for building a future lunar base. The cave likely extends horizontally or at a maximum tilt of 45 degrees. Moreover, it may contain clues that shed light on the moon's evolutionary history. By analyzing rocks in this underground cave, largely unaffected by the moon's surface environment, we can gain valuable data on the timeline and duration of lunar volcanic activity, mantle composition, and more.
Hopefully, this discovery sheds even a little light on the mysteries.